This is your temix 25. It's your main soda unit, replacing, I believe, the S2 unit that was previously there. So, to set this part up, what you do is you place it where you want it to go. Next thing, we pop off the lid. Inside here is the chilling tank. What you need to do is fill this with water, just plain tap water to just above the copper coils. If you overfill it, it will come out the overflow, and that's all there is to the inside of this machine. So, pop the lid off, fill her up, and put the lid back on. Once that's done, next there is, with this machine, there are actually two 10 amp plugs. Now, the machine usually only has one, but we have added a external soda recirculation just because of the distance from the machine to the gun. Gets us a nice, better product. So this one takes two. If you have two 10 amp points near each other, fantastic. If you don't, we will send a double adapter. We've never had an issue running these machines off a double adapter. That motor doesn't draw too much power. It does, however, run 24/7. So it uses actually more power than the machine, simply because it runs continuously, where the machine itself only runs when it needs to refrigerate, then turns off when it gets down to temperature, and when it needs to make more soda water. So in the long run, your recirc motor will use more power than your machine, but neither use that much power together. Once it's filled up, plugged in, leave it turned off. Down here we have the on-off button. It will come turned off at the button, and above that we have a thermostat. At the moment it's not set to full. If it needs more capacity, or it's not keeping up during busy service, or you're in a very hot location like a basement that's not well ventilated, yes, it can be turned up to full, but generally we leave it around there. We find that if you're in a cold environment and you turn it up to full, too much ice actually forms on the coils and it can freeze over the drink line, and then no soda water comes out, it just splutters and we have all sorts of issues. So leave it where it is. Directly above that we have a plug that runs the agitator inside, so that's nothing you really need to worry about. Now, coming out of the machine to your Python line. Now, you have the H2O out, which is actually your cold water. Now, that has a 10mm barb at the end. Now, almost all Python line, unless it's been customized somehow, will run 10mm. So, on your Python line, when we get up to that part, and there's a step-by-step instruction on how to find it and what to do there in a different section, the cold water line just connects straight to it. Now, because you had an S2 unit, you should only have one water line. The S2s don't recirculate plain cold water, but just in case you previously had a bigger machine there, or someone set it up so it might have recirculated, we are also going to include this fitting. Basically, all you need to do then is you will have a roll of 10mm line, which we include. Just add a small section about yay long to that. So put the 10mm barb over that, clamp it in place, pipe, clamp it in place. Then this barb goes in the other end of that pipe, clamp it in place, then your two water lines will go into that. But you should only have one water line. Your soda line, however, you should have two soda lines. One that goes to the gun, one that comes back to the gun as recirc. Now, finding that is essential, and finding which line is which, but we'll go through that once again more in the Python line section. But once you've established which two lines are your soda water, either one, doesn't matter, goes to this barb. Doesn't matter which pipe it comes up and which pipe it comes back, there's no direction that it needs to flow in as long as it's flowing in a loop. So your soda line goes there from out of the machine. The return line, the other soda line, goes to this barb here. So the machine makes the soda water, it comes out here and goes to your gun. This pump sucks it back from the gun into here, back through here, into the machine, and in a continuous loop, so it always stays nice and cold. So these two hook up to your Python. Your other soda water goes here. Next two lines. You have a gas water line and a H2O water line. Now, we've left these very long. That way you can cut them back to size. You shouldn't need to have them this long. So, start with the H2O water line. This simply goes to the outlet side on your water filter. So, put all your main components where you want them first. Place your machine where you want it to go. Place your syrup board where you want to go. Hook up the gas regulator to the gas bottle and place that where you want it to go. Take your gun to the end of the Python line where it's going to go. That way we can measure everything out and connect it up as we go along. So, simply run the H2O line over to the water filter. On the outlet side there's a stainless steel barb. Simply cut this to size, put a clamp over the end of it, put it onto the barb and clamp it shut. We will include the clamps and the tools to do it with. Pretty much exactly the same with the CO2. Run this to the CO2 bottle where the gas gauges are connected. Cut it to size, clamp over the end, onto the stainless steel barb, and shut it. Now, there will be two stainless steel barbs on the end of your CO2 regulator. One is for your syrup pump, one is for the machine. The one closest to the bottle is for the machine, and it'll be marked at 80 psi. That's what you want to run this machine. The other one at 40 psi, which is your syrup pumps, won't put enough pressure into the machine to get your bubbles. But that's all there is to the actual machine. Put it where you want it to go, plug it in, don't turn it on until you're ready to commission. Soda water line, soda water return, your gas and water. Once you are ready for commissioning and turn this on, it will take around 3 hours to get down to temperature. It needs to refrigerate and get the ice build up. It will also need to chill your Python line down to about 0 degrees, or technically it'll get down to about more like 1 to 2 degrees, but it needs to get from ambient down to there before the whole system stabilizes. So that should take about 3 hours, give or take.